Now that we've gotten the obvious cringe out of the way, hello nerds, thank you once again for joining me for the week in Nerdom. I am generally nerdy. This is my channel. That is the show you are watching. Sorry, today's episode is running a little late. We get into that in the housekeeping section. I appreciate you nerds for showing up. There are surprisingly more of you today than there were for the last episode, so thank you very much for showing up here, nerds. And before we jump into the intro, I just want to remind everybody to hit the thumbs up. Let the algorithm gods know that what we're doing here is legitimate news. And yeah, now we'll jump into the intro. All right, so housekeeping for this episode is we're going to start things off a little bit differently because we have this episode's late. I'm going to make the apology for that right now, but it was unavoidable, unfortunately, because unfortunately last night I was involved in a car accident on the way home from a photo gig, and I couldn't finish my research. I was stuck on the side of the freeway for hours and hours. Thankfully, everybody is okay. I did have my dogs in the vehicle with me as well, but they are also fine. Turns out the person responsible for the incident left the scene of the accident, so it was just a lot of fun. Let me be 100% sarcastic with you. Yeah, so today has been a lot of makeup for that. Also a lot of makeup for I had a photo gig yesterday, so that also was cutting into time anyway. And so that being said, enough of the excuses. Let's get to the regular bits. Once again, I don't do energy drink sponsorships, even though I would love to. So if any potential upstart energy drink companies are out there and you're looking for someone to plug your stuff, if it's a good drink, because I'm not going to plug something just because you want me to, but Rowdy's good. I dig Rowdy. This one is where is it? Orange citrus. This is the less sugar, not the sugar-free, though even still, less sugar is still 18 grams of sugar, which is a little high for my taste in energy drinks, but it's still a pretty tasty thing. Anyway, they're a little too long on that. Whatever. Regular bits. I don't think there's anything aside from the push. So the push is, look for me on the social medias and send me a follow or a like or whatever. I'm still trying to figure out, so Facebook does not show me who is liking the page very easily. I know there's a place where I can see that information sometimes, but I don't know. So if you have followed me on the Facebook page, then I do appreciate, or if you've liked the Facebook page, I do appreciate it. I'm working out details onto how we can do shout outs for that. So if you've liked, or if you plan on liking the Facebook page, that's probably where a fair amount of the traffic goes as far as what I post. So I appreciate you. I'm not ignoring your shout outs. I'm just trying to figure out how I can find you. Likewise goes on the YouTube. We did have a bit of an uptake in the last week on the YouTube follows, and it's given me 3 of the names. Was it 3 names? Yeah, I have 3 names on the YouTube. I have 2 YouTube channels that we're doing these shout outs for, and both of them have seen a little bit of an uptick in subscribers. And of those subscribers that have happened in the last week, again, I can only see 3 of you. So I don't know if there's a setting. I think it's a privacy setting that the individual user sets. So if you don't want to change that setting, then definitely drop a comment. And that was going to be the other half of this part of the housekeeping was, comments are welcome too. Anyone who starts to converse in the comments, be it in the YouTube page, the Facebook, any of the other social medias, if you drop in on a thread on the Twitter, Getter, whatever, then by all means, I will probably throw you into the shout out section again, even if I've already given it to you, or that would be a great way to get a shout out if your privacy settings on your personal account don't allow me to see who you are, even though you follow me. So that is where we're going there. Let's get to the actual shout outs. And this is, not gonna lie, going to be gigantic. So many thanks to all of you nerds who have followed Generally Nerdy in the last few days. Here's the list as it is. So this is going to take me a little bit because some of these names are a little wonky because they're screen names. So on TikTok, new followers are nertok69, the Red Roblox 0, Yoma Ra Viles 331, Hubba _Wubba, vynlsenpai. I really dig that one. James Mogan 3, Lucas HGG4, Manraj Dosanjh, I believe, 8, Andrew Gill 98, that random guy 04, original, camronrusin, Brandon Robertson 755, user number, and you check the show notes for the full user number. Gavin McKenzie 0, yes sir, it's Alex 01, TWD _Clippets, The Walking Dead. ibrahemelsaadi, I apologize. sandoyios, I believe. ligiaprtrut. Again, many apologies. Retro Lego 4, Reginald Payne 18, dieselsik, Gaming Technology 33, jaiamoore, Ellen _Helena, Johnny Pow 3, Zack Attack 801, Bargain 416, and Vincent Scott 56. That's probably, when we post that up in clips, gonna have to be multiple clips. But then we also have Instagram followers. On Instagram, nertok. I believe you also follow me on the TikTok, so thank you for the double follow. Bigboy.co, again, also follows on the TikTok, so rock and roll there as well. JRedArt, J_red_art. Thank you very much for the follow, nerd. On Twitter, we have Jeremiah Espinoza at JN Espinoza. So rock and roll. Thank you very much. You are an author, I believe, or a comic book artist, if I'm remembering this correctly. So I do know that you have a Kickstarter that's about to drop. So when that drops, hit me up, man. I'll give you a plug. No worries. That's what this section's for, boss. All right. And then on YouTube, again, I can only see 3 of you, and those 3 are Futurenova Jay, Miguel Soto, and 90M Rec, I don't even know if this is words, 90M RECHEVERRIA. Thank you, nerds, for the follows. Yeah, so those of you following on the Instagram, you're about to see some interesting stuff because, like I said, I just had a photo gig yesterday. So with Halloween coming, this is one that this is a cosplayer that I've shot before. So it will not be something unfamiliar, but it'll be definitely new. Anyway, so that's what's going on in the shout outs. I think that is all we have for housekeeping. So let's move right along. Starting things in the music section, we're coming out with the big guns. We have Converge announcing a new record. Kind of. So Converge is teaming up with Chelsea Wolfe, her songwriting partner Ben Chisholm, and Stephen Brodsky, who is the vocalist from Cave In. That's right, there are 3 vocalists if you're keeping track at home. 3 vocalists, not the Ben Chisholm, but obviously Jacob Bannon, who sings for Converge. They're all teaming up, this large group of people, approximately 7, because there's 4 in Converge and then the 3 more. So 7 of these musicians it's taking to make this Blood Moon 1 record. This record has actually been multiple years in the making. Chelsea Wolfe and Converge have been friendly for some time. They started doing the writing process for this, I believe, in like 2018. We are just now getting the final release of the final workings of it, and they're actually going to be releasing it on November 19th. There is a music video for the title, kind of sort of title track. It's called Blood Moon as 2 separate words, whereas the name of the record is Blood Moon Moon, all one word. So I don't know. I'm very intrigued to see what's coming out of this. Obviously, this one's produced by Ballou, just like every other Converge record is, just like it should be, because Kurt Ballou is probably the only person who understands how to record a band such as Converge. But it sounds pretty interesting. I have yet to watch this video just because it's Converge. I'm probably gonna love it, so I'm a little biased. There is a vinyl release for this that's coming out as well. June 24th will be the vinyl release, but again, the wide release for digital and CDs, if you still purchase such things, is the November 19th. Next, we're talking, this one was one that I was not considering putting in this until I watched the video, so apologies for not being able to do a reaction to this, but I'm also working on the ideas of maybe doing a music appreciation video series, so, you know, let me know if that's something you're interested in, because I do really appreciate music and have been doing it for a long time, making it, learning it, teaching it, so on and so forth. So, Jinx is a new band that is putting out new music that is very reminiscent of a bygone era. Jinx is what is being called a nu metal revivalist band. The name of this new track that they just put out is Heatwave 98, named after an ECW, I guess that's their, like, big penultimate deal at the end of the year when they have all their wrestlers come in and wrestle for the belt or whatever ECW does. That's not my nerddom. I apologize. I'm not trying to minimize, but it's just, I don't understand the nerddom. So many apologies, but it is named after an ECW title match. And it's a very, like, I was not expecting, based off of the nu metal revivalist, was not expecting to like this. I do love nu metal, don't get me wrong, but the revivalist part is what kind of threw me, because nu metal has been seeing a little bit of an uptake in interest in the last couple of years anyway. So to call a singular band a revivalist of the genre, I mean, not that the article that I found this in was singling them out as the only band doing such things, but I've never heard, I don't know, it just, the vocabulary seemed strange to me. So I was going in this with pretty low expectations, and it's interesting. It's definitely not bad. Not 100% sure I would put it in the same echelon as the early nu metal that started the genre, but it's definitely got something, and if you can work on something, then you can make it into something huge. So yeah, that's that. And then we have one other new piece of music, and that is from Demon Hunter. Demon Hunter, the video for I Will Fail You. We've talked about the release of this record for some time. This is the first video I believe we've talked about from this. This might even be the first video released from this record, though. If I am wrong, definitely let me know, because I like Demon Hunter, and I haven't seen any other releases from this just yet. So you can see, again, links to all of these videos down in the description. That is what we have for new music. Obviously, there weren't follow-ups or corrections, so let's move over to tours. Our first tour has to do, actually, is the announcement of a new tour, as well as the announcement of a new record from the Eagles of Death Metal. Eagles of Death Metal, the 24th anniversary tour will begin November 22nd. It's going to be a European tour, so it starts in Brighton, UK, runs through December 6th in Bristol, UK. There are other European countries in the mix. It's not all just in the UK. Picks back up. Oh no, I apologize. That was the UK leg. Misremembering my information. But then picks back up March of 2022 in Zurich, Switzerland, runs through April 30th and ends in Blandford Forum, UK. So again, not all in the UK. That second leg is actually exclusively outside of the UK, save for that last date. So that is what we have for that. But then, like I said, there's also an announcement of a new record from the Eagles of Death Metal. We will get to that actually in just a moment. Our next tour that we're talking about is Tool is finally going back on tour. They have a giant tour scheduled. There is a US leg and a European leg. The US leg is scheduled from January 10th. It starts in Eugene, Oregon, runs through March 20th in Cleveland, Ohio. The European leg starts shortly thereafter, April 23rd in Copenhagen, Denmark, and then runs through May 24th in Budapest, Hungary. There again, links for tickets if you are interested to see any of these bands down in the description. Our final tour that we're talking about it because Spiritbox is on it, though the other two bands that are actually headlining this are noteworthy in their own right. Every Time I Die and Under Oath are both taking out Spiritbox. Remember, Spiritbox was dropped off of the Limp Bizkit tour when Limp Bizkit had to cancel the rest of their dates due to fears of the coof. Well, now they're getting back out on the road. Not that they ever really weren't on the road. The Limp Bizkit stuff was just elevating their profile. They've stayed on the road, man. I believe they're currently in Europe touring, but they're going out in the States with Under Oath and Every Time I Die, starting February 18th in Dallas, Texas, running through March 25th in Atlanta, Georgia. One more time, links in the description for tickets to any of these shows. All right, now let's talk about that new record from the Eagles of Death Metal. This is a Christmas album from the Eagles of Death Metal, which is very interesting. So it's a Boots Electric Christmas will be the name of the EP. Boots Electric, obviously the alter ego for one of the founding members of the Eagles of Death Metal band. The EP will be released November 19th, and it's going to be the weird, like, neon saturated rock and roll you've come to love and adore from the Eagles of Death Metal, but it's that kind of music doing those classic Christmas songs from what I've heard. I'm very interested. Pre-orders are actually live now. If you pre-order it now, you get an early MP3. I believe it was Silent Night. And then if you have already pre-ordered it in a month, they're releasing another song. I don't remember which song the second song was. And then again on November 19th, we will be getting the full record wide released. So yeah, very, very interesting day in music, not gonna lie. And from music into video games and tech, we have just a bunch of follow-ups, really. So let's jump right into them. We have Battlefield 2042. The open beta starts on October 6th. If you have a pre-order in already, if you do not have pre-order, then the open beta starts for the rest of us on the 8th. So no word as to how long the beta, at least I couldn't find any word as to how long the beta is going to last, but it is open, so anyone who requests to join can join on console. I do not know if it is open on PC on Steam, but if you are on console, then it is open for you. Our next follow-up has to do once again with Halo Infinite. So we're going to go through the notes real quick. Oh no, the notes are what I had to say anyway. So I'm just getting ahead of myself. So last weekend's beta, because remember I was uncertain of the details when we last recorded because I had a lot of stuff going on the last episode, getting ready for a couple of concerts and trying to get interviews and so on and so forth. So I was fuzzy on the details, so here are the details. Last weekend, the focus of the beta was the training session. So I did not get any recording time done, though I did get some beta time in, and the training went swimmingly. I thought that was fantastic. It seems that they've kind of reined in the bots a little crazy. I did not play Spartan level bots in my training experiences, though I did do all other 3 levels and they all seemed manageable. I was slightly afraid, not gonna lie, to try and fight the Spartan level bots again, because those guys are nuts. So Spartan level bots, notwithstanding, everything else seemed to be balanced in the way I expected. There is a lot of really awesome stuff, the little minor tweaks that they're doing to this to make it feel like Halo and then some. So I like that. I do understand, though, Dr. Disrespect very recently made a comment about the Halo beta saying it's great and all, but it kind of feels soulless. And I can kind of see that. I'm not saying 100% that I agree with that statement, but it does feel like there is something missing here to make it fully a Halo game. I don't know if I can put into words what that is. I think Dr. Disrespect's kind of come the closest to that, though I don't think that is 100% the best way to word it, if that makes any sense. So this weekend coming up, if you were part of the last beta, well, you are also a part of this beta. And actually, anyone who wants to be can be part of the beta this weekend. This beta is going to be focusing on big team battles. So in the last weekend, they introduced a new map, which is a whole hell of a lot of fun, though it was a little bit disorienting at first. It seemed larger than it was when I first started playing it, but it is a little bit larger. So with 12 on 12 battles for big team battle, Halo Infinite is going to have to show us some of their larger maps. And that's kind of going to be the focus. They are still going to allow training mode and the weapons training mode. Training mode being that you can fight just you and a bunch of bots. Weapons training, we went over in a previous stream. It is, like I said, available to anybody who has an Xbox Live account. If you do not yet on your Xbox have the Xbox Insider app, that is the only way to get into this Halo beta. You do not have to be a Halo Insider in order to do this. And honestly, becoming an Xbox Insider is the only thing required is you download the Insider app. Super difficult. But yeah, once you've downloaded that app, that is all you need. You can go to halowaypoint.com. You can figure out the exact details on how to get into the beta there. It's not going to be super difficult. You have to go through the app, which then directs you to the store from the app, and that's how they verify that it's a beta and so on and so forth. It's a little convoluted, but honestly not as difficult as I'm kind of making it sound. So the other half of the beta is on PC. So if you have a Steam account and you are not a Halo Insider, right now this is not 100% open to you, though they are working on opening it up, and hopefully by the next episode, we will be covering how you can get into that if you are a Steam player. So that is all we have on Halo Infinite for the moment. Our next follow-up has to do with Star Wars, Knights of the Old Republic. I love this. This follow-up is fantastic. They are porting over the original KOTOR to the Nintendo Switch. It will be out November 11th. This is not going to be the remake version that was just announced for the PlayStation. This is going to be the original version that was on the Xbox, is now being released on the Nintendo Switch. Again, November 11th. This is joining a plethora of other Star Wars games that have recently been released on the Nintendo Switch, Pod Racer, so on and so forth. This was just too exciting to not announce, but we got to move on. Our next follow-up has to do with Netflix. Remember, Netflix is getting into the gaming business, and they have started releasing games on their mobile platform. So if you have Netflix on your mobile device, then you also now have some games. But pretty much all of those games right now, up until this, were available also on other mobile gaming platforms. Now, Netflix has acquired their first exclusive gaming studio. It is a studio called Night School Studio. They have created, to what I can gather, only 2 games. The first being Oxenfree, and the second being the sequel to Oxenfree called Oxenfree 2. But this is a step in a direction that we never really expected to see Netflix go. So we will, as always, be keeping tabs on this as it develops. So, comic books and books, we have one piece of news, and that one piece of news is actually a book, not a comic book, and it is a tie-in to the Star Wars Visions anime. The name of the book is going to be Star Wars Ronin, a Visions story. So, Ronin, if you are watching the Visions series right now, you will recognize that name as the very controversial, or one of the very controversial episodes from that series. It's the one with the parasol lightsaber. The book will be out October 12th. This is not a novelization of the story that happens in that episode. This is a tie-in book with those characters and the world that they've created inside the Star Wars universe for that episode, though. So, again, October 12th, very intrigued to see the developments here. I'm not necessarily on board with the way some of the nerddom are treating this, because obviously Star Wars is a land of space wizards and sabers made out of plasma, or light, if you will. So, yeah, I enjoy when you get creative in an existing universe. So, let's see what happens. That's all, though, we have here in comic books and books. All right, so TV streaming, we have a couple of follow-ups, both of them being Star Wars related. First up, we are talking Andor. Andor, it has been made known, has finished principal photography. So we are that much closer to seeing Andor grace our screens. I did not see the official release date for it, though I'm pretty sure we've covered that before. It's not in the notes. I apologize. I take amazing notes, but we're moving on. Our other follow-up for this episode actually happened, was announced anyway, as I was literally walking to sit down and film and record just now. Thankfully, I was looking for one last piece to add to notes for the movie section, and I bumped into this by accident, but Book of Boba Fett finally has a release date. That release date is December 29th. We will get to see what they're adding to this amazing side of the universe with this series by the end of this year. It's very close to the beginning of next year, but not quite. So, presumably it will be episode a week, much like The Mandalorian was. So that's what we're anticipating, and we're moving on. Next, we're talking trailers, and we have a plethora. So first up, we have a new Stranger Things trailer. Sweet! If you have not watched this, oh boy, you need to finish dealing with me here right now for this episode, and then definitely go watch this immediately afterwards. Stranger Things Season 4. This is the Creel House. I didn't put in the notes because I'm, again, amazing at the note-taking. But yeah, Creel House is the name of the teaser. This shows us the early connection to Robert Englund's character, as he has that same last name in this series. So very interested to see how exactly it connects, if he is in fact the father figure that we see in this trailer at the beginning, just the older version of that character, or what have you. I still don't know, and hopefully you might. If you do, let's have that conversation, comments, social medias, whatever. Definitely go watch it, because it's a lot of fun and it's definitely worth the watch. And I'm hoping that this is going to be a little bit more of a dark, like legitimately atmospherically dark season of Stranger Things, but we're moving right along. Next, we have another trailer for Cobra Kai, as well as the official announcement of a release date. December 31st will be Cobra Kai's Season 4. And again, presumably not the final season for that series, so that's pretty awesome. We have another trailer next. We're talking... Next on the trailers list is the new Sandman trailer. Sandman is a bit of a doozy. I'm actually honestly a little bit more intrigued now that we have this trailer, whereas I was a little hesitant before, being as I haven't really read the comic. I mean, I've read parts and pieces, but I've never read the entire story all the way through. So I'm very intrigued, though. It's a very divisive series. So It is what it is, I suppose. It's worth a watch, though. If nothing else, this trailer definitely sets up your interests. So go check that out. But also, our final trailer has to do with Cowboy Bebop. The live action, it's not technically a trailer either. The live action Netflix series. Yes, a lot of Netflix. We got the Tadum event over the weekend, so lots of Netflix. The Cowboy Bebop opening credit scene is what they've released, and it feels very familiar. Also showing us some of the new. Slightly feel a little more reassured that the feeling is at least going to be there, though some of the tones are obviously, we already know, are just going to be lost in translation from the animation to the live action because of reasons. But this one is actually more divisive, or more bringing people together in ways that were unexpected because of the way they're dealing with a certain character, and like the different sides of the ideological spectrum are agreeing that that's kind of problematic, but for different reasons. We'll get into that maybe on a later date, or we'll just completely leave it alone because it's not the kind of news we necessarily cover on the channel. It is what it is. It's definitely worth a watch, though. This kind of eases a little bit of my worry. Let's put it that way, because I do love Cowboy Bebop, but I also think John Cho's a pretty good actor, so we'll see what happens. That is all we have for trailers. Let's move now into the actual news for this section. First up, we're talking about a DC documentary series on HBO Max. There's going to be a 3-part documentary series about the cultural impact of DC's nearly 90 years in existence. Over on HBO Max. It's going to be released later this year, I believe. I did not find a proper release date for it, though. It will be written, directed, and produced by Leslie Iwerks. She is an Academy Award and Emmy-nominated producer, director, writer. And I'm only assuming it's a she because I didn't go to the Wikipedia page to verify the gender or sex or whatever vocabulary you're choosing to use for the description of a person's ugly dangly bit. So yeah, that sounds pretty cool. I'm definitely on board to learn something new about the history of comic books. That's always right up my alley, not gonna lie. Probably going to watch it multiple times. But that is what we've got on that one. And then our final piece of news for TV streaming has to do with Babylon 5. CW is rebooting Babylon 5 from the ground up. It is going to be a complete reimagining of the series, though it's not going to be the abomination it might sound like, hopefully, because the original creator, J. Michael Straczynski, is on board as not only a producer, but he'll be in the writer's room as well. Don't know if he'll be a lead writer, probably because he created the thing, but you never know really with these kind of things. That's all we really know right now. No release date, no time frame, no nothing. It's early production. Just a pretty interesting thing for that other Star Trek clone. But that is all we have for TV streaming. Movie news. This probably has one of the biggest developments that we should have covered had we had 2 episodes last week in the second episode last week, but alas, we did not because, you know, things happen and I have a social life as well as a work life, and so the work life had to kind of take a little bit of a break in order for me to go to and do wonderful things, though I was trying to get interviews, and we've already talked about that. Anyway, so what big thing am I talking about? You probably already know. The Mario animated movie. We got a giant update in the announcing of the voice cast. So we have a couple of things to unpack here. I'm not going to read to you the voice cast listing because honestly, you can find it pretty much anywhere. There is now a voice cast for Mario. The release date for Mario is December 21st, 2022. So we are well over a year away from this movie happening. We're gonna start we're going to unpack something a little bit differently for this one real quick. How's it going, everybody? Jeremy here from the Quartering. Okay, no. my beard is not nearly that epic, though I do have to start it that way because I'm honestly surprised the Quartering hasn't covered this yet. Lord knows Bounding Into Comics was all over this, but John Leguizamo, who was, if you'll remember, in the only other Mario Brothers movie that means anything, was Luigi Mario, because that was a thing. John Leguizamo playing Luigi, now apparently he thinks he is the be-all, end-all voice of how to make a Mario movie in Hollywood these days. He tweeted the following. So glad hashtag Super Mario Bros. Is getting a reboot. Obviously, it's iconic enough. Love the spelling there, John. But too bad they went all white. No Latinx in the leads. Groundbreaking colorblind casting in the original. Plus, I'm the only one who knows how to make this movie work script-wise. Well, that's a little presumptuous on so many levels. Let's get into this a little deeper. All right, so... obviously, it's iconic enough. We'll skip the spelling error because he's just trying to save space. Too bad they went all white. Well, I would say it's too bad they went all with face actors. There's one voice actor in the lot of them, and honestly, that one voice actor has done on-screen work as well. He's primarily a voice actor, but he was in a little-known TV series called Homeboys from Outer Space. He's done other things on screen before. That's just the first thing that my brain remembers him as. He's done a bunch more voice work than he has screen work, but still, the voice I'm talking about is Kevin Michael Richardson. So yeah, that's very interesting because presumably they gave us all of the leads, right? So Kevin Michael Richardson is not a white man. Also, the Latinx comment. There's two things we have to unpack for the Latinx comment. First and foremost, I went through as many of the comments on the tweet that Leguizamo posted as I could before I just couldn't stop myself from laughing. And that's because almost all of them, any of them that mentioned the Latinx thing, were definitely giving Leguizamo grief about his use of the term Latinx. I love John Leguizamo. Please do not get this twisted in any way. I actually interviewed the man. He is definitely somebody I look up to in the industry in a lot of ways. We vary dramatically, politically speaking, but I still have nothing but respect for the man. He is a great actor. I really don't care that he's Hispanic and or Latinx, as he prefers to be called, and he played an Italian plumber in a movie. I brought it up in the interview as a joke, and he thought it was funny as well, so, it is what it is. But I just think it's hilarious that honestly 90% of the comments on his tweet were about how people prefer to be referred to as Latino or Latina, and Latinx is almost more racist because it makes him sound like a rich white woman. That is almost nearly an exact quote. I obviously am not looking at any of the tweets immediately. The only tweet I have in front of me is Leguizamo's tweet, but yeah, I couldn't read another 50 comments on the Latinx thing. So there's that. But also, why do they have to be Latin leads? It's a voice. So who cares what color the lead is? But also, Anya Taylor-Joy, I believe that's the actress I'm thinking of. Yeah, Anya Taylor-Joy is Argentinian. She's from Argentina, grew up in Miami, speaks fluent Spanish. So she's Latina. You could make the argument at the very least. I know she's bleach white, probably whiter than I am, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything, because if you look at Spanish folk from Spain, a lot of them are blonde-haired and blue eyes and much fairer than me. So I feel like Leguizamo is not paying attention. Again, I really, really love the guy. I'm really not trying to throw too much shade, but wow, that was intense. Oh, and there is one more thing about this that I thought was very funny about the Leguizamo bit. Leguizamo, again, pretty fair complected as far as Latino, Latinx, whatever vocabulary he prefers to be referred to as. He is pretty fair-skinned when it comes to people of that ilk. Do you think he would have been cast as Luigi Mario in that movie if he had a complexion more along the lines of, say, Luis Guzman? If he looked more Latino or Latinx or whatever, if he looked more Hispanic, would he have gotten that part to begin with? I would venture to say no. I don't know that because I'm not a casting director. Now that we've gotten the obvious cringe out of the way, let's throw some reasonably nerdy caps on real quick, because I don't think Leguizamo is necessarily wrong in a certain way. So, what do I mean by that? I think that hiring a bunch of face actors, 99% of these actors all are very famous movie stars. I think the only exception to that would be Kevin Michael Richardson, because he's done primarily voice work, like we've already discussed. And also Sebastian Maniscalco, who is a comedian who, honestly, I don't think he's done much, if any, acting work on screen. He might have done some other voice work that I'm unaware of, but by and large, Maniscalco is known as a comedian. So, the rest of the cast that has been announced are all movie stars. There are already voice actors doing the voices of these characters, and they're alive and well. Why would you not go with the same voice actors to do these characters for the movie that do it in the video games that have already made you billions of dollars? That just seems unreasonable to me. There's no reason to have not gone with the actors who are already doing these parts. This seems like I love Chris Pratt. I think Chris Pratt is great. I don't think he's the best actor, but he's a pretty decent actor. He's a pretty good actor, I would say. He's not the best, but I gotta stand behind somebody who is unafraid to back down from his morals and opinions. Especially in the position that he's in, he still doesn't back down. So much respect to Chris Pratt, and honestly, respect to all of these guys. But come on, let's be reasonable here. Every one of these characters already has a voice actor behind them. That voice actor is alive and well and still working, as far as I know. Just doesn't seem very logical to me, aside from trying some weird cash grab, but the name Super Mario Brothers is already going to make you that $1 billion. Has already made you billions of dollars. There was no need for this. All right, reasonably nerdy caps off, but we're spending way too much time on this follow-up. Let's move right along. Our next follow-up has to do with Fantastic Beasts 3. We have a subtitle change and also the announcement of a release date. So Fantastic Beasts 3 is now going to be called Secrets of Dumbledore and will be released April 15th of 2022, which is actually up from its original July release. So that's good news. Our final piece of follow-up is another release date, and that is Clifford the Big Red Dog. November 10th is going to be the release date for Clifford the movie, the live-action movie. It's going to be in theaters as well as on Paramount Plus the same day. Now that we've covered all of that, let's talk trailers real quick. First up, we have a new Red Notice trailer. Release date for Red Notice is November 12th. Onto Netflix. Go check out the trailer. It's a lot of fun. We also have Army of Thieves, the prequel to the Zack Snyder zombie movie that came out on Netflix. This is the prequel to it. Much more bank robbing, much less zombies, though still zombies. October 29th is the release date for that one. Seems rather appropriate, if you ask me. I'm actually kind of excited for that one. As much as I thought the zombie one was a little derivative, there was some original thought there, so I want to see those thoughts expanded upon. That's all we've got for trailers, though. We have one piece of news in movies, and it has to do with Disney Marvel. Disney Marvel is being sued, and actually, they've sued others in this same story. There's a lot going on here, so let's try and unpack it before my battery dies. So, Disney Marvel is being sued by either the creators of or the heirs to the creators of Disney Marvel characters, specifically Marvel characters from the comic books, Spider-Man, I believe, some of the other Avengers in there, Captain America maybe, Iron Man is definitely in there. There's I would say about a half a dozen characters, either the heirs to their estate or the actual creator themselves are suing Disney in order to maintain some of the rights to those characters. And it gets very sticky here because all they have to say is now that Disney owns Marvel, Marvel at the time was paying those creators as day laborers effectively. So anything they create is property of Marvel and therefore now Disney. And so they don't have to give them royalties to these characters because that's not the way those contracts work. But there are other copyright laws in place that the creator of a character, the creator of an IP, still has some claim to that IP down the road. I'm not a lawyer. I can't exactly break down the why, where the split comes in, if there is a split in every circumstance, what have you. This is going to be a very sticky situation for the next few years, it would seem, for Disney. Something similar to this happened years ago. Jack Kirby's estate sued Disney. It almost went all the way to the Supreme Court, the highest court in the land, though Marvel settled out of court before it got that far for an undisclosed amount. So something like that might happen. Now, I say Disney's also suing other people. Disney is also suing the estate of Stan Lee for similar reasons. They want the international rights to be exclusively theirs, and they don't want Stan Lee's estate to have any rights to it. They figure they've paid him enough money, he doesn't deserve more, so they're taking him to court over it. Oh, just love that corporate evilness, don't you? But that is all we have for movies, nerds. Rumor Mill is going to be short and sweet. First rumor for today's episode, there are two. First rumor, Suicide Squad. We have another Ayer cut rumor for the Suicide Squad. It is now being said by a slightly more reliable source that we will be seeing the Ayer cut on HBO Max next year, 2022. This is, again, slightly better source than we've seen before. This is another rumor saying something we've heard before. I'm gonna put this one at about 50%. Previously, it's never been this high. But it keeps coming, and I was honestly on the train for Snyder Cut to not happen last time, so I had to eat a lot of crow there. I think this one might have the same potential, so we're just gonna put it at 50% and call it good. That's where we're sitting there. Next, we're talking about Flash. This one was kind of unexpected, not gonna lie. There is a new rumor about the new Flash movie, Flashpoint movie, if you will, that we are going to see General Zod in the movie. Now, the rumor does not specify that we will be seeing Michael Shannon play the role that he played previously, or if it will even be that version of General Zod at all, or if it'll just be Doomsday again, that's technically General Zod in this weird universe. But so that kind of plays to its favor, though honestly, there's no reason to not have General Zod if we are doing a Flashpoint story. That would kind of make a little bit of sense that we see him in some form. It doesn't say he's going to factor into the story significantly at all, so that also plays in its favor. I'm going to put this one at about 65% likelihood that it's real, because that, I mean, again, there's no reason to not believe that that might happen in some small way. So that is our episode, nerds. That's the end of the rumor mill. It's the end of the episode. What did I miss? What should we talk about in the next one? Let me know in the comments down below. If, though, you want to go deeper in the conversation, jump over to the website, generallynerdy.net, patreon.com/generallynerdy if you want to support all of the things. Thank you very much, nerds. If you're falling behind on your nerd news and you want to catch up, click or tap one of the boxes there to the left of my face to see other things going on the channel. Get into the playlist of all the nerd news, all of the things. Thank you very much, nerds. Before we go, always remember that if it's generally nerdy, it's probably here.